For today, in the name of freedom, we take the battle to them.
Hello and welcome back to another Transformers video. Today I wanted to kind of tackle a topic which I've only seen maybe like one or two people talk about, and that is Sentinel Prime not just being a traitor, but just not being a Prime at all. Because it was a lot clearer in Transformers 1 that Sentinel wasn't a real Prime. You know, he was kind of on their side, but he wasn't an official Prime. That's why when they first meet Alpha Trion, he says Sentinel is no Prime. He doesn't mean that metaphorically, he probably means that literally as well. Because I forget the line exactly, but Alpha Trion basically said that Sentinel wasn't a Prime, but well, he didn't say that he wasn't a Prime, but he said he was like the chief something something. But yeah, he's basically below them. So of course in Transformers 1 they make it incredibly obvious that he is, a phony. He's a fake. But what about the other continuity where Sentinel being a traitor was a big thing and really is the thing that started that entire character arc for Sentinel Prime, and that is Transformers Dark of the Moon. In Dark of the Moon, there are a couple hints, and it depends on your perspective of it, like Sentinel going to, like rejecting the Matrix, because when Optimus says he gives it to him, and he says, it is your right to lead us again. Sentinel just kind of goes, in a world, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not your teacher. You're mine, and then he just gives it to him. He doesn't accept the Matrix, and a lot of people theorize that it's probably because if he tried to, the Matrix would just turn to dust. Kind of like how I did with Sam Witwicky in Revenge of the Fallen, because of course Sentinel is not worthy of the Matrix of leadership. But there is a physical bit of proof that Sentinel may not be a real Prime, and that is his helmet. Of course, arguably one of the most iconic parts of Optimus Prime is his kind of antenna-esque ears. And, they just stand right up. So as soon as you see Sentinel Prime, you're like, oh, okay, so this is a thing with Primes, is they kind of have this ear thing. Well, not the Fallen, but, and then in not Revenge of the Fallen, sorry, in Dark of the Moon, when Megatron just kind of beats Sentinel up, you see his helmet kind of fall off. And that entire part on the top of his head with the ears, with the antenna ear things, comes off. But Age of Extinction, a movie that I will forever love. I know many of you hate it, but there is something in Age of Extinction which does prove Sentinel wasn't a real Prime, and that is the scene when Optimus first transforms. When he says, "My Autobots, they're in danger," and he kind of like stumbles forward, the side part of his head falls off, and you can see that that earpiece that fell off is actually a part of his head. That is a part of his design. It's not a helmet like Sentinel Prime's is, and that is really, kind of the subtle part of the hints of Sentinel not being a real Prime, is that he just wears a helmet to look like one, and those ears are not a part of his actual body. It's just a helmet. So to all of you who call Age of Extinction crap and say it's the worst thing in the world, look, it proved that Sentinel wasn't just a Prime who betrayed everyone. He wasn't a Prime to begin with. Thank you, Age of Extinction. Another thing that I love you for. All jokes aside, I feel like Dark of the Moon has just kind of ruined Sentinel Prime as a character, because now, no matter the continuity, we are going to expect him, like any iteration of the character in the future, and we see Sentinel Prime, we're not going to trust him. We're not going to trust him, even with how he was portrayed in Transformers 1 as like the savior. And, there's a line there. I know a lot of people already compare him to Homelander, but there's a line that he says, it's, like when he's first addressing everyone, he says something like, "I appreciate you." It's something like that. And that is like the equivalent of Homelander's, you guys are the real heroes. It's literally exactly the same. Of course, there he was portrayed as a, a fake hero, and then turns out, oh, he betrayed them. Of course, that is inspired by Dark of the Moon. But if they ever do in the future decide, you know what, we're going to make Sentinel Prime a real hero. He's going to be an actual Autobot. There's no twist. There's no villain arc. No, he's just an Autobot. We're not gonna trust it, because we're gonna spend the entire movie going, yep, when's Sentinel gonna betray them? Come on, the movie's almost over. When's he gonna betray them? And then when the movie ends, we're just gonna be sitting there in disbelief, going, holy shit, Sentinel Prime was good. What the actual? So yeah, Sentinel Prime is just like a really tricky character to handle now, and they kind of have to just find ways, if they do want to keep him as that guy who just betrays everyone. They're going to need to find some sort of original way to make that not repetitive. Because in Dark of the Moon, he just betrayed them because, for Cybertron, he made a deal with Megatron, yada, yada, yada. And then here, just because he's an evil bastard, he holy shit, man. I really would like to hear your guys' thoughts on this, because Sentinel Prime is an interesting character to discuss, especially Dark of the Moon and Transformers 1, those iterations. But the discussion hasn't been big enough of the possibility of him not being a real Prime, because in Dark of the Moon, it's not explicitly stated. They just say, oh, he was commander of the Autobots before me. And we can assume that he did look like that. I'm talking about his head design. We can assume that he looked like that entire time. So for who knows how long he was faking being a Prime. I still, by the way, I would love for someone to take that Black Mamba, original Venerable, and just repaint it with the Transformers 1 Sentinel Prime's colors. Because, dude, imagine how good that would look. I'm looking at my original Venerable right now, which, if you don't know, is like the oversized knockoff of the Studio Series Sentinel Prime. And it's perfect. And to see that with the TF1 colors, oh my God, that would look absolutely amazing. But yeah, please let me know your guys' thoughts on this whole theory of Sentinel not being a real Prime. Do you think we're reading too much into the thing with the Bayverse and the helmet and stuff? Is it a possibility? Or is it exactly how it looks and Sentinel is just a fake? Anything and everything, please let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And yeah, if you did enjoy this video, then please leave a like, subscribe, and goodbye.